وسهلا بكل الذين ينضموا للاستماع إلى راديو بلدي أول راديو عربي أمريكي ويعنى بقضايا العرب في المهجر. برامجنا في راديو بلدي كل يوم جمعة من 8 وحتى 9 صباحا في بث حي ومباشر عبر WNZK راديو 690 AM. صباح الخير بلدي، صباح الخير لكل مستمعينا.
Welcome to Radio Baladi, the first Arab, Middle Eastern, and American simulcast radio show. Radio Baladi is broadcast every Friday morning on WNZK 690 AM from 8 until 9 Eastern Time on Good Morning Michigan. Our call-in number 248-557-3300. And now, stay tuned for the best radio talk show on Arab and American issues.
And welcome, everybody. I am Ray Hanania, and it is February 11, 2022. As your guest host sitting in here at Radio Baladi for Layla Al-Husseini's U.S. Arab Radio Network. February 11, 2022, again here at WNZK AM 690. We're live streaming on Facebook at facebook.com/US Arab Radio. And we're discussing several topics this morning. We're going to look at some of the many candidates who are of Arab heritage who are running for public office. They include like Huwaida Arraf in Michigan, Iyman Chehade in Illinois. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about the fight to unseat pro-Palestinian Congresswoman Marie Newman in the new Illinois 6th District, which has the largest concentration of Palestinian Americans in any congressional district. Maureen Newman has been very pro-Palestinian fair. She's been supportive of, I mean, listen, she's not a strong critic of Israel, but she has supported Palestinian rights. And then finally, we're going to talk with a little bit about President Biden asked the question, has he delivered on his promise to Arab Americans as defined in his partnership? My guest this morning is Ali Younes, veteran. You know, Ali, when we call people veteran, it just means you're old. He's a veteran.
That's right.
Veteran journalist, veteran political, writer, really good. And, you know, I was on several of these, I got to call them right wing, but, you know, I do agree. I'm kind of in the middle. So I like the right. I like the left. But there are a lot of Facebook equals like iDobanet and Me, We, and Gabfest and all that. And it's just the same. The country, America is polarized, Ali. There's nobody in the middle.
Well, in recent political climate, you know, the United States has been polarized in the past 10 years.
Yep.
I think ever since the Barack Obama presidency, the country has never seen polarization the way we saw after the presidency of President Barack Obama. And it's quite unfortunate. But, you know, this polarization continued on, you know, after Barack Obama. And still, we're still living in what I call it a cultural war in the United States, you know, with those who are conservative and ultra conservative and extreme conservatives. And you have liberal Democrats and ultra liberals. And all these, you know,
the worst part of polarization is the hypocrisy. In other words, somebody on the far right and someone on the far left, they say something that's critical about the other side, but close their eyes to their own problems. You know, for example, I was arguing with some people on this iDobanet, which I think is a great platform. They don't censor you like Facebook does. You know, although I get bullied all the time because I'm too moderate. I'm in the center. I'm a Reagan Democrat or a Reagan Republican, whatever you want to call it. But when you criticize Trump, I said Trump was his problem, he was extremely petty. He couldn't stop himself from engaging in hate, you know, dialogue with the media and with his critics. I mean, you saw the last press conference with President Biden, right?
Right.
There was a reporter that said at the very end, hey, Mr. President, I want to ask you a question. So he said, go ahead. And the reporter basically said, what do you have to say to people who say that you're not mentally fit I don't remember his exact words, that you don't have the mental capacity to lead. And he goes,
You're an
oh,
idiot.
he
You're
says
crazy.
that. Oh, he says,
that's what he was asking him.
Who was it?
Yeah, he was asking him. In other words, you're an idiot. What do you have to say about that?
Right. But Biden said, oh, that's interesting. And then went to the next question. Had that been Trump, and this is Trump's failure, it's always been his failure, including going too far to the right in reaction to what he did. Had that been Trump, he would have started a war with the reporter. He would have called them names. He would have said all kinds of ugly, stupid things that would have distracted from the issue that he wanted to address.
But
that was Trump's fault.
Yes, but I think that was a deliberate strategy on part of Trump and his people.
It didn't work.
Yeah, but that was a strategy. It worked with some segment of the population.
Yeah.
They saw Trump as a victim of some kind of a conspiracy.
Well, he was a victim of media bias. There's no doubt about it. The media hated him.
Yeah, but he used the media. The media hated him, but they saw in Trump somebody who could move up the ratings so high because of his controversial statements, because of his words that shocked a lot of people. Even people who were around him.
Yeah, polarization has been the benefit to the media. I mean, they were losing money for years, tanking. They were on the downslide. And now this fight where people on the right and people on the left hate each other, and people like you and me in the middle, we got to duck because the arrows are flying from. Everybody criticizes us because if you're not 100%, they don't like you. But I'm not 100%. I believe in the 75% principle. I think 75% of everybody is good and 25% sucks. It's
you have to be honest with you. You have to be in the middle.
Yes.
You could be left of center or right of center.
Yeah.
Because you have to have the ability to compromise and to reach out across the aisle.
Consensus.
And to reach out to your political opponent, or ideological opponent. Other than that, this cultural war, although it's been waged in the media, in the newspapers, and in the streets, it would have been transformed into a real war, and that would be very dangerous. So if we lose the ability to accept the other opinion or the other point of view, that would be very problematic, especially in the United States, where everybody has the right to speak up and speak out against whichever opinion he has or against whoever he wants to be.
The fact that we have to say that is what's the problem with America today. We have to remind people that you got to open up your mind. I don't want to censor anybody. I do not want to censor Joe Rogan. I don't agree with everything Joe Rogan says, but he brings up some great points. But I don't want to censor him. I love Joni Mitchell's music, and I love Neil Young's music, Cinnamon Girl, all that stuff. But they don't have a right to say, hey, we're fighting for the right of people to do whatever they want to do in the 60s and 70s and 80s. And then now all of a sudden they want to force Joe Rogan off of Spotify. They're hypocrites. You know what I mean? It's like they become hypocrites, the far left, the far right. And when you address it, the far right and the far left hates it.
Well, I'm not gonna justify what Neil Young, have done or has done. But because if Neil Young or the people who Neil Young could present that point of view, if they were to be perceived as losing the debate or losing that point of view to their opponent, which could be a conservative or ultra conservative, that would be in their mind very problematic, because in their mind we have to stand up to what we believe in.
Yep.
Because the opponent is not even reaching out to them. And nobody's reaching out to anybody. So this polarization is being done by both sides, the Democrats or the Republicans or the fringes of those, great parties in the United States.
Yeah, listen, I never heard of Joe Rogan other than, I guess he was an announcer for some wrestling things or whatever, a sport. I'm not big on sports. I just love politics. But when they started attacking him, I started thinking, who is this media that thinks that they can decide what's right and what's wrong? I mean, the reporters are biased. They're not being objective in covering these things. Joe Rogan used the N-word on his radio show. Now, I would never articulate the N-word. Okay, it's a racist word, but when you listen to his podcasts and all the citations that they do saying, oh, he's a racist to use the N-word, it was always in a discussion about how the left allows black rappers to use the N-word and say it with no accountability. They're not held to accountability, but everybody else can't use it. And he said that's what wrong. But instead of saying the N-word, he would pronounce it and, use the actual word, which I find offensive from anybody. But you can't attack Joe Rogan and not attack the far left and say that they're empowering that word. They're empowering criminals all over the country because they want to protect them and they want to blame everything on the right. It's just horrible. Anyway, we kind of got segued off of our focus, right, on Arab, but it's part of it in a way, I guess. There are a lot of Arab American candidates who are running for office, and I know you spotlighted a couple of them. Huwaida Arraf, who I know I think she's going to make a great candidate. And I think that she has a tough race in the 10th district in Michigan, but I think she's a good candidate. You talked to her. And Iyman Chehade. Now, I like Iyman, but I have to ask, anybody can run for office, but, it always helps. And you and I have been in politics forever. If you're going to run for political office, you need to be engaged in politics prior to announcing that you're going to run for office. You can't be a single issue person, running on the issue of Palestine, for example. I love Palestine, but I can't win as a candidate for Palestine. Can I in the United States? I got to focus on what the voters want.
Yeah, that's the wrong place to run on Palestine. You run in Palestine.
Yes.
But I don't think Iyman Chehade is one single issue guy, because he's been engaged in politics for a long time.
I've never seen him. I mean, he's a good guy. He's a professor. Yeah. And the problem is, just by saying this, they get upset. You know how the Arabs are. We have short fuses when it comes to tempers and anger. I'm not criticizing Iyman Chehade. I think he's a brilliant, smart person. I just think that when you run for office, politics has to be smart and strategic. And I don't think he's done a good job with his campaign. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I wish him good luck,
Yeah, of course. I do too. But we didn't lose you, did we, Ellie? We just had a little disruption on your part. Are you all right? Oh, no, we lost Ellie. Let me just check with our producer. Listen, Mike, let's take a quick break. All right, here.
I'm sure you do.
There you are.
There's no incumbent, opportunity that I am from this in the skip. I probably have a chance. You missed all that.
Yeah, we did. That's right. It was we are on the internet. We are on the internet, and the internet was, of course, invented by the vice president, and he didn't do a good job. I just want you to know. So if
Mike Pence or Al Gore.
Al Gore. All right. Anyway, listen. Let's. You're back on. So let's talk about it. Aren't Arab candidates oversensitive? Sometimes the big mistake they make is they run on the issue of Palestine, and then they wonder why they didn't get enough votes.
Well, yeah. Well, but first of all, I don't think Iyman Chehade is running on the issue of Palestine. It's a component of his candidacy, obviously.
Right.
Just like any other conservative candidate who sees that in New York or in Brooklyn, there's a lot of Jewish American voters. Israel will be front and center of that issue in that district, or anywhere else in the country where Latinos and Cubans in Miami and all, or what have you. So Iyman Chehade he has some Arab American and Palestinian American voters in there, and it's a liberal district as well. So he feels he has a chance in that, and he's running based on that. But most importantly, he has ties in that district, and he has established a theater. He has told me that it's a family. He has family ties there, and he has established a theater. Prior to his candidacy, of course.
I get it.
To have the community there, so he's been active in that community. But what I'm saying, Ali, is how was he active in the area where he wants to run for public office?
Did he start a community center for kids, that are African American, Hispanic, and white to bring them together? And again, I'm not criticizing Iyman. I am saying that a good candidate for public office has to have a high profile in the district that they want to run in.
Barack Obama didn't have a high profile.
Oh, no, he did. He did.
He was a state senator. Remember?
Yes,
when he
I remember.
Chicago, but that was not high profile.
He was very pro-Palestinian, when he was in the Illinois legislature. Yes.
Yeah, we remember. But Obama didn't have a high profile, senator to be a statewide in a senator.
Well, listen.
He was a locally active in the.
Yes, he was in his district. He won in his district because he was well known. He fought, he lost, and then he won the second time. He lucked out though.
He wasn't very well known in Chicago.
No, he wasn't. But he lucked out when he was running for the Senate, and Jack Ryan, the Republican, was running. Jack Ryan would have won, except there was this issue about him and his wife having these weird sexual open parties or whatever. So Jack Ryan didn't want to embarrass his kids, so he quit the race. And then the Republican Party put this crazy guy, I can't even remember his name. I don't even like to think of him. He was an African American with no base, no credibility, and Barack Obama won. Then he went to the presidential convention and gave this empowering speech that set him up for president. It was amazing.
Right.
Now he turned out to be a hypocrite. He promised everything and didn't deliver everything.
It was a disappointment for a lot of people, especially
in the
African American community, because this is the first African American ever to become a president of the United States with that historical baggage of racism in the U.S. So they saw this is a hope. This is a culmination of our struggles in the 50s and the 60s of the civil rights movement. And then, Barack Obama saw things otherwise. He saw things. I'm a president for all Americans, white or black.
But he was active in his district for the race that he ran. Listen, my guest on the line is Ali Younes. He's a longtime friend, but one of the few Arab Americans who really understands, like me, American politics. We've been engaged in American politics as writers, as columnists. We understand it from a professional standpoint, and we participate in it. And we're not just single focused, activists only looking at one issue. We look at everything and we try to bring it out. So I'm talking with Ali Younes. We're going to take a quick break here at WNZK AM 690 radio to bring in some ads. And then once we're done, we're going to continue our conversation with Ali Younes about Huwaida Arraf, about Iyman Chehade.
And we have a Saudi American running in Washington State.
Yeah, we want to bring him in. We got some Muslims like Muhammad Fahim in the 8th District against Raja Krishnamurthy. And then we're going to talk about Maureen Newman, who is under siege by the pro-Israel movement. They want to destroy her. And I think that the Arab community has done more damage to hurt her, even though she's done so much to help us. Anyway, I'm Ray Hanania. We will be right back right after these messages.
While we've been staying safe at home, scientists have been on a journey. The destination, a COVID-19 vaccine. This journey began decades ago with research into other coronaviruses. Scientists built from there with months of research and development, cooperation with other experts worldwide, and clinical trials on tens of thousands of volunteers of diverse race, age, and health status. They arrived at a safe, effective vaccine, and hundreds of thousands in Michigan have already been vaccinated. But the next step is ours. We need to get the vaccine when we can. Keep wearing masks correctly and taking precautions until we reach our destination, freedom from COVID-19 and getting back to the lives we love. Discover the facts for yourself at michigan.gov/COVID vaccine. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
Enjoy the first Syrian-style cuisine in Michigan. At Damas Cuisine and Catering, you'll find a wide selection of Syrian foods and sweets in our menu, like frike, hoisin, grape leaves with steak, mishawi platter, hot mahashi, char-grilled kebab, shawarma, and much more. Get super fast delivery from Damas Cuisine and Catering right to your door. Order online at damascuisine.com/menu and track your order live. Damas Cuisine and Catering, 28841 Orchard Lake Road in Farmington Hills. Call 248-987-4985. At Top Rehab Physical Therapy Clinic in Dearborn, we provide effective physical therapy sessions in order to limit pain and discomfort. Top Rehab provides physical therapy care for any diagnosis prescribed by a physician, and we regularly see and treat conditions such as stroke, TMJ, fibromyalgia, sciatica, joint pain, and more. We use a variety of pain management methods, including modalities, soft tissue mobilization, and therapeutic exercise. If you're in need of physical rehabilitation or physical therapy, get the highest quality health care at Top Rehab. Most insurance is accepted, and we're open Monday, Wednesday, and Friday 8 to 6, Tuesday and Thursday 8 to 5, and Saturday 10 till 2. Call for an appointment today at 313-846-0555. That's 313-846-0555. Choose Top Rehab Physical Therapy Clinic on Michigan Avenue in Dearborn. Life's too short to be in pain.
Ziyad brand. Quality products from our family to yours. Ziyad Brothers Importing offers the finest quality products, including brands like Sultan, Kraft, Nestle, Hook, Rico Picon, Donna, and many more. Ask your retailer to carry these fine products because you deserve the very best. For more information, visit our website at www.ziyad.com. That's www.ziyad.com. Ziyad, quality products from our family to yours.
And welcome back, everybody, to Ray Hanania's Arab radio show, Radio Ballady, here on WNZK AM 690, broadcasting live in Detroit, Michigan. It is February 11, 2020. My guest on the line is Ali Younes, a veteran journalist and columnist, and he understands politics the way I do. And we've spent our life trying to get the Arab American community to understand politics the right way. And unfortunately, it's like an uphill struggle to do that. But Ali, despite that, has navigated his way through these issues, and he's done some great writing. You did a profile, an interview with Huwaida Arraf for Arab News. Tell us about Huwaida. What I think she's a smart candidate, and I think she's doing everything the right way. What did you find when you spoke with her?
Well, Huwaida Arraf, she's one of the smartest Arab American candidates that I've ever spoken to. That I followed her career. I'm sure I've known her in the past 20, 25 years when she was active in her community. She's from Michigan. She was born in Michigan. Her father immigrated from Palestine to Michigan.
I met her in East Jerusalem.
Yes, she was
many
active.
times. Smart person.
Yeah, and she moved there to work. She had a job to go there and work with I assume, an international organization.
Right.
And she came back, and she was active during the 2000 Intifada, for Palestinian civil rights movement and human rights, Palestinians under Israeli occupation. So it propels many Palestinian Americans and Palestinians from all over the world, just like pro-Israeli, who wants to support Israel. So she was in that, activism for a while, but she went to law school and she became a civil rights attorney in Michigan, and she's active in her community. And she struck me as being a level-headed person. Yes. She's mainstream. She wants to bring good things to her community, to her district in Michigan. And this is also a new district, a new gerrymandering. The Michigan legislature, created this new district out of many other districts. So I think she's smart, and she has a chance if she continues on with this. And I believe she needs the support of a lot of people, especially in donations and all that, just like any other candidate for office.
Yeah, I've known her. She's very smart. I agree almost with everything. I think she and I had a dispute about something that had to do with the boats that were trying to get into Gaza to break the siege. There was some criticism I wrote about that. She got really upset with me, but the problem in the Arab community is sometimes emotion drives our logic. I get an argument with you. I don't like you anymore. I block you out. So I don't get any press releases from Huwaida Arraf, and she's losing out because I have this huge network that distributes everything. And I don't know, it would help her. But that's part of the problem in our community, isn't it? We get to.
But I think it's not just our community, we are oversensitive or emotional. I mean, look, we've discussed it in the beginning that in American society today, in the past 10 or 15 years, if you say something, it could torpedo your career or could get you in trouble. Get you in trouble with the other side,
I get that.
People are very sensitive nowadays. They not accept. It's not Barry Goldwater or Jimmy Carter were in the presidential debates.
AUH2O, Barry Goldwater. That was back in the 60s.
Yeah, it was more civil. It was more.
Yeah, but the difference though is Huwaida is Palestinian. She's doing the right thing by focusing on mainstream American issues, but she's not maximizing her support in the Arab community. She's maximizing only her support among those people who support her already. Those are the people you don't spend your time working on. If I support you, Ali, I don't expect you to be calling me every day begging me to support you. I support you, right? You got to go out to the people that don't know you and the people that you're not working with who have assets to help you. Our number is 248-557-3300 here, 248-557-3300. Jerry Hava is on the line. Let's bring him on. Jerry's a good guy, listens to the show all the time, always has a good opinion. Jerry, welcome to the program this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Ray Hanania. Good morning, and thank you for taking my call. And I was so happy and pleasant to hear that your guest is Mr. Ali Younes.
Great guy.
A giant journalist like Ray Hanania. You are a twin in the media. You are a giant, and I appreciate you, Ali Younes and Ray Hanania.
Thanks.
You are doing a wonderful job.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you. I want to wish both of you a happy Valentine. And of course, that goes to producer Mike Shefka and to the lovely young lady, the founder of the Arab radio talk show, Miss Layla Al-Husseini. So,
give us a question, Jerry. Give us a question. We love you. Go on.
Yeah. My question is, you mentioned earlier to Mr. Ali Younes that any candidate for any public office, Congress or Senate, if they mention Palestine, forget it, it's over for them. But Mr. Ray and Ali Younes, Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib and Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, they mention so many times Palestine issue.
After they got elected, Rashida did talk about it in her candidacy, but Rashida, to her credit, she focused on the needs of African Americans in her district, which were 70% of the district is African American. Right, Ali? Don't you got to focus on the people that you want them to vote for you? Rashida did do that, Jerry. I'm not criticizing you. I'm just saying that
no.
Once elected, they do that. They stand up and they fight for Palestine, which is the right way to go.
Mr. Ray, Mr. Ali Younes, if you allow me, the Arab activist, Mr. Amr Zahar, he even mentioned in one of his, when he used to have a radio talk show, that when he visited Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib's office, he saw a picture of Palestine on the map.
Of course, but that's after she's elected. She didn't run on a picture of Palestine, right, Ali?
Of course, because Palestine is not an issue for the constituency in her district. If she was running in Chicago 3rd district, now it's 6th district, that would have been an issue in the candidacy because
I'm not even sure I agree with that. Even though the 3rd district has the largest Palestinian concentration of any congressional district, I think that issue of Palestine is what hurt Rush Darwish, who had $800,000, ran for Congress, and barely got 6% of the vote, because almost 90% of everything he talked about was Palestine. And I'm glad I agreed with everything he said, but you can't win by just talking about Palestine and not talking about all the big issues that I don't know. Not all my neighbors know about Palestine. Do all your neighbors understand Palestine? The American neighbors? No. Yeah, no. See?
Unfortunately, no.
No, they don't.
But Mr. Ray Hanania, not trying to take too much of your time. You have a guest, Mr. Ali Younes. I just across a thought for me. Miss Layla Al-Husseini, she's a good activist, a very educated woman.
Yes.
Don't you think it would be a good idea, Mr. Ray, Mr. Ali, that Layla to run for Congress or Senate, and she will do a wonderful job.
Listen, you know what I'd like is for the Arabs to support Arab media. They will subscribe to CNN. They'll subscribe to the Detroit News. They'll subscribe to the Tribune. They won't subscribe to their own news media. They won't support their own community. They say they do, but they hear something I say. They hear something Ali says. They hear something you say. They won't support us. Listen, Jerry, thank you so much for calling, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thank you again for taking my call.
Thank you, Jerry.
Thank you, Mr. Ali Younes. Happy Valentine, and God bless you.
Thank you.
All right, buddy.
But
give us a final comment before we go to break, okay? Go ahead,
I think it's not just clear that if I want to run as a candidate in my area, that Palestine should be a front and center, unless it's the majority of my community are Palestinians and care about this.
Majority of voters, majority of your district, right?
Of course,
majority. We're less than 2% of the entire 3rd district.
Right. But see, Jewish Americans, for example, if we compare ourselves to the Jewish American, I have a discussion with a Jewish American, a friend a long time ago, and he mentioned to me, and which is correct, that when Jewish Americans, there are a large number of Jewish Americans in the U.S. Congress, whether it's Senate or the House of Representatives, they don't run because they're Jews. They don't run for office because they're Jewish. Because I'm going to bring Jewish law, or Israel
they don't do that.
Or Israel is that. They don't do that, and they shouldn't do that, or Catholic. Or Baptist, So they run because the district needs this or that, or my constituency in the district, the voters in the district, they have certain needs. And I feel that I am competent enough to run for office, to help my constituency, to trust me enough to vote me into office so I can bring them, whatever they need.
The one thing the Jewish community has done that's very effective is that they have made Israel a mainstream issue. Arabs have not made Palestine a mainstream issue, and that's the difference between the two communities. They have made Israel such a mainstream issue. I give them credit. I don't agree with everything they do, but they have made it a mainstream issue. We got to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue our discussion with Ali Younes about all the candidates running for office from the Arab community. I also want to talk a little bit about Maureen Newman. She's being forced into a race with Sean Casten. Sean has received like $50,000 or something. I think what was the number? $30,000 from the pro-Israel lobby, according to Open Secrets. The pro-Israel lobby, by the way, gives money to everybody. They gave Maureen Newman $2,700 because they always want to be there. They're smart. Even though they disagree with Maureen Newman, they're still going to give her money to keep that door open just a little bit. Us, if you take $1 from the Israel PAC, we hate you, right? Isn't that what it is?
Yeah, and some quarters in the community, yes. Because
some quarters.
Yeah, but look, Ray, I think the community, because we've been for a long time involved in the community on its issues, and I see a level of maturity, creeping up little by little. Now we have 3-4 members of candidates who happen to have Arab American heritage. 20 years ago, very few, mostly Lebanese Americans who have been in this country for the past 100 or 150 years.
Yeah.
Now we see sons and daughters of immigrants who are running for office. I think this is something.
It's good.
It's good because
it's evolution.
It's an evolution, and many Arab Americans are in the mainstream media and NPR.
And you and I are gonna educate them, and we're gonna educate them.
Well, we were at the time, and we still
they need
are.
it.
Yeah, and still are. We still
Yes.
part of this, larger landscape of media and a political scene. We
Yes.
see younger generation moving up in that ladder.
Yes, I'm Ray Hanania. This is Radio Balade. It's WNZK AM 690 Radio. My guest on the line is Ali Younes, a longtime political writer and observer, just like me, and a great journalist too. He does phenomenal writing. He really understands journalism. Not everybody in the Arab community does. They understand political propaganda and stuff, but Ali Younes understands getting the story, presenting it factually, and doing it in a way that really educates the reader. I'm Ray Hanania. We're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue this discussion with our guest, Ali Younes. We'll be right back right after these messages.
What's my ETA?
Your estimated time of arrival is 9:17.
I'm late. I'll have to punch it.
Speeding will save you just 1 minute and 36 seconds. It will also increase your risk of a crash, as well as the odds that you will be stopped and issued an expensive speeding ticket.
Yeah, but...
In 1 year, there were 22,000 speeding-related crashes in Michigan, resulting in 200 deaths.
If I had someone in the car with me, I'd drive slower. But it's just me.
This is not a logical response. Though you have no passenger, surrounding cars contain 27 others, including 5 children and 1 Labrador retriever.
How do you know all this stuff?
I know everything, Kevin.
Your risk of a crash increases with every mile you drive over the speed limit. So slow down. Speed enforcement is happening now. A message from the Michigan Office of Highway Safety Planning.
When you're looking for the best in optical care, Dr. Iyman Chehade is your doctor to see. With years of experience and thousands of successful procedures performed, you can trust your eyes to Dr. Iyman Chehade. See Dr. Iyman Chehade and his professional staff for your eye care needs. There's 2 locations to serve you. In Hazel Park, call 248-336-3937. 248-336-3937. In Rochester Hills, call 248-299-3937. That's 248-299-3937.
Kashat's Mediterranean Market in Shish Kebab offers a great array of your favorite Mediterranean meals. Meals range from lamb specialties, shawarma sandwiches, and seafood dinners. Plus, they offer big trays of your favorite food and so much more. Kashat's Mediterranean Market in Shish Kebab is located at 32839 Northwestern Highway in Farmington Hills and is open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So stop in or call Kashat's today at 248-538-9552. That number again, 248-538-9552. Kashat's Mediterranean Market in Shish Kebab will definitely leave you satisfied.
Are you going to start a restaurant or a grocery store soon? Do you need floor plans and designs? Call Naji Abood at 734-744-9796. Do you want to buy kitchen and restaurant equipment at discount prices? Call Naji Abood now, 734-744-9796. New Concept Products and Design, the trademark of kitchen equipment. 5% discount on all purchases of $75,000 or more. New Concept Products and Design, new location, 31185 Schoolcraft in Livonia. Learn more at www.newconceptproducts.com. Call Naji Abood, 734-744-9796.
Get ready for an amazing experience at Ishtar Restaurant on 15 Mile Road in Sterling Heights. Enjoy excellent hospitality from owners Ali Al-Baghdadi and Fatty Bonham, serving the best in Mediterranean food. Try Chef Ali Al-Baghdadi's famous shawarma, the best Iraqi grills and food, and the best Arabic and international dishes. Dine in our authentic atmosphere or take out. Call 586-698-2585 or check us out on Facebook. Ishtar Restaurant practices all CDC guidelines and is open every day 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Have an amazing experience today at Ishtar Restaurant, 3625 15 Mile Road, Sterling Heights.
And welcome back to Radio Balade. I'm Ray Hanania. It's February 11th, 2022 here at WNZK AM 690 Radio. Our number is 248-557-3300, 248-557-3300. We are broadcasting live on the Facebook page at US Arab Radio and live on WNZK AM 690 radio in the greater Detroit region with our guest, Ali Younes, a veteran journalist and columnist, someone who's focused on politics for many years the way I have. What do we know about Maureen Newman? I mean, she's been probably more supportive of Palestinians than any member of Congress that's ever sat in that district. And yet her biggest problems have been Palestinians. Rush Darwish running against her and the fight with Iyman Chehade, who filed a lawsuit against her.
Well, I think Maureen Newman, like you said, she's one of the best members of Congress and candidates who supported the Palestinian American community in her district.
Much like Betty McCollum in Minnesota.
Betty McCollum in Minnesota, yes. And Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar.
Yeah, of course.
For that matter. But Maureen Newman, her district is not 100% Palestinian, as you know. Right. Palestine is a big component of that district.
Yes.
But Maureen Newman, she is also mainstream. She's crosses the aisle. She's not an activistic member of Congress. She's a mainstream. She was supported by J Street. Besides, the other.
A lot of Palestinians don't like J Street. I'm a member of J Street. I donate to them. I support them. Just the way I support the AAI and all these other Arab organizations. Anybody who supports peace, I support them. And Palestine, a state.
Yeah. So for Maureen Newman, she got into arguments within Palestinian American community, and several members of that Palestinian American community at the Democratic Club there. So we know who's the Democratic Club in the Chicago South Side. Also supported Bill Lipinski, because Lipinski has been for a long time represented that district, and he has ties to the community.
He was going to win there. I mean, for the first election, he was going to win. He was doing everything right.
He won. He won the first.
Yes, she did. When she ran the first time, she lost, but she did come back. But the irony was that, and Rush, listen, I think Rush Darwish is a smart guy. I think he's made some dumb mistakes. He had poor media. Why would he run to stop Maureen Newman and undermine Maureen Newman and take away her votes in a primary where she needed those votes? She won anyway. And I think Rush, who had a great future, I thought he did in politics. I'm not sure he does anymore. But he kind of undermined her. And now we have Iyman Chehade. He reached out to her, and I think it was a mistake on Maureen Newman to believe that she needed to get a Palestinian out of the race, and when Iyman was going to run. I don't think the Palestinian vote in the 3rd district was that significant. It was strong, but it was very divided.
But it was significant enough to put her in office, because when
I don't think so.
When you have a tight race, Ray, when you have a tight race, several thousands of votes or 1,000 vote can make a difference for you. So if Arab Americans voted as a bloc,
but they didn't. They didn't. That was the thing. They didn't. That's what made them weak.
They did the next time. The first time she had a problem, and the Arab American voted, some for Lipinski, some for Rush Darwish, who grabbed.
No, that was the second race with Rush Darwish. They split in the second race that she won. A lot of Rush Darwish got, I think, 5,000, about 6,000 votes.
Yeah, Rush 6,000 votes.
Out of 120,000, which is terrible, with a budget of $800,000. It was just embarrassing.
But that was 5% of the vote. She could have used that if she was in a very tight race.
Isn't it ironic, though, that her biggest problems, she's helping the Palestinian community. Her biggest problems have been Palestinian. It just doesn't seem right.
Well, you could say it that way, but I try to look at the bright side. I try to be positive, because, you want to bring people together. And I think she's...
But they're not coming together.
Palestinian Americans have helped her as well.
Yes.
Some huge chunk of the community
have
donated for her, have, volunteered for her work, and voted for her, and I think that was crucial.
I think if she has a problem in this primary against Sean Casten And if Sean Casten is a candidate, I will vote Republican, and I'll support the Republican candidate. Scott Casper is the guy that I'm going to support. If Maureen Newman is not the candidate, I will not support Sean Casten, who has never said anything fair about the Middle East and takes so much money from the Israeli.
Are you going to support
lobby.
Sean Kastner for
Scott Casper? I'm going to support Scott Casper, who's the Republican. If
in the primary.
Well, I'm not sure, but I'm going to tell you what. If Maureen Newman does not become the candidate in this new district, I will not support Sean Casten in the November election. I will support Scott Casper. And I know their names are similar and people get a little confused, but Scott Casper is a smart guy. He supports peace based on fairness, and I think he's phenomenal. But my main priority is Maureen Newman. I want to see her win. I'm just worried that she's being tanked by people in our community, by the Democratic Party are going against her.
That's a bigger issue for Maureen Newman, is the Democratic Party.
Yes, that is.
Yeah, it's not the community, to be quite honest with you. You know,
well, they're making it easy for her to be defeated.
But the Democratic Party, if they want to support her, and pour money into her campaign.
Well, she has a lot of support from labor unions. She has a lot of support from a lot of the mayors in the old 3rd district, but she's having trouble in the new part of the new 6th district, which is Sean Casten's base. Listen, Ellie, I know that radio is troubling because we got to do so many breaks. So I got to take another break, our last one. When we come back, let's talk about Joe Biden and his partnership. Has he been successful? Is it really a partnership, or is it just a partnership in name? I'm Ray Hanania. We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back right after these messages.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true in the face of flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Now more than ever, getting your flu vaccine is essential. Flu vaccines are proven to be safe and effective. In a typical year, flu vaccinations prevent millions of illnesses and thousands of hospitalizations and deaths in the U.S. Everyone 6 months and older should be vaccinated this flu season. To protect our essential workers and those who are at highest risk for flu complications, such as people over 65, children younger than 5, pregnant women, and those with underlying health conditions, we need to face the flu together. Help us hit the flu head on. Get your flu vaccine to protect your community and your loved ones. Learn more at michigan.gov/flu. A message from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services.
When it comes to reproductive medicine, IVF Michigan Fertility Centers are the recognized leaders. With locations in Bloomfield Hills and 5 other cities in Michigan and Ohio, IVF has experts in all aspects of the field. As a founding member of IVF Michigan Fertility Centers, Dr. Nicholas Shama is one of the leading reproductive endocrinologists in Michigan and Ohio. Dr. Shama has performed over 10,000 IVF cases and has helped thousands of couples fulfill their dreams of parenthood. American board certified in both obstetrics and gynecology and reproductive endocrinology and infertility, Dr. Nicholas Shama is a very caring, compassionate, expert physician that understands not only the medical but also the emotional toil of infertility on his patients. When it's time, get personalized care from Dr. Nicholas Shama at IVF Michigan Fertility Centers in Michigan and Ohio. Call toll-free 855-952-9600, 855-952-9600. WAF is a nonprofit charity that's provided humanitarian aid and development to people and communities for over 25 years, regardless of race, color, religion, or cultural background. When disaster occurs here or around the world, Life for Relief and Development rushes in to provide food, medical aid, and shelter to those in need. Please help improve these efforts. Make your tax-deductible donation to Life now at lifeusa.org or call 248-424-7493.
Are your hands feeling numb? Do you feel pain opening up a jar, turning a key? Are you noticing that your elbow and your shoulder are becoming stiff? Or were you recently injured in your arm? Hello, I'm Dr. Albajit Katranji, and at the Katranji Hand Center, which just recently opened down the street from the Somerset Mall, we can provide you with the latest in hand, wrist, elbow, and shoulder care. Visit us at www.katranjihandcenter.com to learn the latest techniques that we have to offer you, and I look forward to taking care of you.
Visit us in Troy at 1565 West Big Beaver Road, Building F, or call Katranji Hand Center for an appointment at 248-869-4263. That's 248-869-4263.
And welcome back to Radio Bellady. I'm Ray Hanania, your guest host here on Arab Radio, U.S. Arab Radio Network, created by Layla El Husseini. She does a great job Monday through Friday, the only Arab radio station that broadcasts 5 days a week. We need to do a lot more. We should have 5 hours. This discussion, Ali Younes, my guest, and I are having is so important. It's hard to do it in less than an hour with 3 breaks, Ali, plus an introduction, plus a close. So President Biden, he appointed, 15 Arabs to different positions. Hadi Amr, great guy. We both know him. None of them can talk. Most of them shut down their social media, fearful that things that they've said in the past would come back to haunt them by an aggressive anti-Arab push from the pro-Israel side. And then George Salem, I guess, was just appointed. I got to look into that. As a lobbyist for Palestinian funding. But is that enough, from Biden? Did he do enough?
Before I jump into that, I just want to mention Sami Abu Drabo. I wrote an article about him, who he's a Saudi American who's running for Congress,
yes,
the 10th district in Washington State, replacing Peter DeVazio, the chairman of the Transportation Committee in the U.S. Congress. Has been there for 36 years. Peter DeVazio, that is. And Sami Abu Drabo he was born in Arizona. He's very young, very energetic. He's in his 30s, and I enjoyed talking to him. And he's involved he's elected to the education board in Michigan, in Washington State, and he's very active in that community. So talking about the guy who's running for office based on the needs of the community and the constituency. His issues are not, Middle East or foreign policy for the most part. His issues are active in the community, bringing education and work for that community, and try to replace Peter DeVazio as member of Congress. So this is something just I wanted to mention before I jump into Biden.
Yeah, no, that's an important case. And I have to say that if it wasn't for me, if it wasn't for you, a lot of people wouldn't know who these candidates are. They don't get a lot of coverage in the mainstream media, but he seems like a good candidate there in Washington.
Yeah, I think he is. He is. And he's been elected, and he's been elected to office. And and in fact, when he talked about the New Deal, he's progressive. He said, well, I'm progressive. I'm mainstream. I'm everything else.
A lot like Sam Rasool out in, I think it's Virginia. Great guy. Very smart candidate.
Yeah, Sam Rasool, it's a different case with Sam Rasool.
Correct.
I mean,
he's already in the House of Delegates over there, I think, but he wanted to run for lieutenant governor. And he didn't win, but he's a good guy. He's mainstream. And once you get in office, though, you can then expand your issues and talk about Palestine, talk about the Middle East, talk about the Arab world, really fight against, Islamophobia and racism and discrimination. But to get to office, right, you got to focus on what the voters want, because you need their vote, 50% plus one. But tell us about Biden. We only have about 7 minutes left, and I think it deserves 50 minutes of criticism, but we'll go with 7.
Yeah, Joe Biden came to office from a Palestinian perspective, to their relief after Trump and his Abrahamic Accord, and his Abrahamic Accord, he just torpedoed the Palestinians. He recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, and to the detriment of Palestinians.
And the peace process. He kind of undermined the peace process, I think.
And I don't like to say the word peace process, because what is a peace process? There's no such thing as a peace process. It's detrimental to the peace between Palestinians and Israelis. Right. There's no process anymore. I mean,
right,
stop.
That's true. It's dead.
Netanyahu never wanted to have a process. Naftali Bennett, who's a darling of many countries in the Arab world, he says, I don't want to be to the Palestinians. I don't want to have a Palestinian state. I don't want nothing to do with that.
But it's not just because of Trump. It's because of the Democrats and the Republicans, all the administrations, all the way back to Bill Clinton, when he tried to push things, when it didn't go his way, he tried to force an agreement that wasn't fair. And then there was Obama made all these promises. Then there was George Bush, George W. Bush. And then there was, Trump. And then now we have Biden. Everybody says the same thing, but nobody delivers anything.
Yeah, because, for the Palestinians to see, well, okay, Joe Biden restored aid to the Palestinians. He restored aid to the UNRWA, the UN agency for the relief of Palestinian refugees.
Yeah, but that's
which Trump and Jared Kushner tried to smother and kill it off, because to force the Palestinians into some kind of an economic peace.
Well, the Palestinians wouldn't talk to him. But to suggest that Trump did something bad that past administrations didn't do bad, they've taken the money away. George Bush provided money to the Palestinians. He's a Republican. The point I'm trying to make is that when it comes to Palestine, Republicans and Democrats are exactly the same. They may talk differently, but we tend to want to go with they hate us, but they make us feel good candidate rather than the people that hate us and don't make us feel good.
That's true. Even now with Arab and Palestinians in the Middle East, they even favor a labor candidate in Israel. Remember, they supported Shimon Peres.
Yes, I remember.
Benjamin Netanyahu. So even to that, we have reached in the Middle East that point of favoring somebody who is a lesser evil from their perspective, even being a Zionist, an ardent Zionist like the late Shimon Peres or others. And all Israeli politicians are ardent Zionists. They're not shy that they don't want to see a Palestinian state because they see it as a threat demographically and politically to their survival in Palestine.
That's why I originally supported Trump, not because of all his crazy ideas, but because I thought bringing somebody else in would disrupt the system and force it to change. As it turned out, it didn't. He turned out to be a bad candidate, a bad president in terms of my interests.
He disrupted the system.
Yes,
he recognized Jerusalem, and he recognized the occupied Golan Heights.
But everybody recognized. But every president recognized Jerusalem. They just didn't go the extra step.
Right.
Tell me that Jerusalem wasn't under Israel's control already, right? That's the thing. We pretend like somehow Trump made Jerusalem an Israeli city. They've taken over that city for 50 years.
From a de facto, not de jure. So on the ground, yes, they are in control. They occupied it 100%. Yeah. Remember, Jerusalem,
that's rhetoric.
Since 1948, it should not have been a capital for the state of Israel or the state of Palestine.
Of course not, but it was. And nobody did anything.
But that was the foundation of why nobody has an embassy in Jerusalem, East or West Jerusalem, because it was under UN resolutions in 1948 that it should have been an international city.
Nobody did anything about it.
It was Yasser Arafat. It was Yasser Arafat under Oslo Agreement, who has agreed, say, you could keep West Jerusalem. We recognize West Jerusalem as your capital as long as you give me East Jerusalem.
Absolutely. They gave us nothing.
And that what enabled Israel to go to Africa, to go to the US, to go to the Arab world, says, well, if the Palestinians recognized us, what are you waiting for?
Listen, on peace in the Middle East, because we only got 2 minutes, what would be the grade you would give President Biden? Has he delivered, or are we still? He does have 3 more years.
Yeah, he hasn't delivered.
He
promised that he would reopen the American consulate in Jerusalem that serves for all intents and purposes as to serve the Palestinians.
Yep.
He promised that he would reopen the PLO office in Washington, D.C. He hasn't yet. And the Israelis, refusing that the Biden administration reopen the consulate, says, well, this is our capital. You cannot open a U.S. consulate for another people. You could open it in Ramallah if you want to, but not in Jerusalem.
Right. All right, Ali, we got to cut it. And I apologize. This radio, I wish we had 10 hours because this deserves it. Follow Ali Younes, my guest on Twitter at Ali Reports, correct?
Yeah,
I'm Ray Hanania. I want to thank everybody for listening here at WNZK AM 690. Follow me at Ray Hanania or visit hanania.com. Check out US Arab Radio to watch this interview that I did with Ali Younes. It'll be up there. We'll distribute it. We'll get it out there. Thank you, everybody. Ali, thank you so much for joining us, buddy.
Thank you, Ray. I appreciate it.
All right, we will talk later. Bye-bye, everybody.